deserve relationships, whether personal, professional, or familial, that are healthy, supportive, and filled with mutual respect. If someone has hurt you intentionally and repeatedly, giving them another chance is not a sign of love or forgiveness. It's a way of accepting harm as a part of your reality. Breaking free from this cycle requires strength, self-awareness, and the willingness to prioritize your own healing over trying to fix someone else. You have the power to create the life and relationships you deserve, and that often means recognizing when it's time to walk away for good. Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to speak to you about an incredibly important yet difficult topic: how to handle situations where people intentionally damage you. It's never easy, but it's a conversation we all must have with ourselves at some point. The theme of our discussion is, don't give them a second chance. They damaged you intentionally. First and foremost, we need to recognize the difference between a mistake and intentional harm. Mistakes are part of being human. We all stumble, we all misstep, and we all have moments of regret. But there's a clear line between a mistake and intentional harm. Intentional harm is when someone actively chooses to hurt you, whether through words, actions, or neglect. This isn't a matter of them making a mistake, it's a matter of them choosing to disrespect your feelings, your dignity, and your trust. And once that line is crossed, it's essential to pause and reflect. When we talk about harm in relationships, it's important to distinguish between mistakes and intentional harm. Mistakes are a natural part of life. Everyone makes them at some point, whether it's saying something we don't mean, acting impulsively, or misjudging a situation. These are often unintentional and come from a place of human imperfection. It's important to acknowledge that no one is perfect, and we all have moments of regret where our actions may have unintentionally hurt someone. But it's important to stay aware and remember that our actions may have unintentionally hurt someone. In those cases, the best course of action is usually to apologize, seek forgiveness, and make amends if possible. However, when we're dealing with intentional harm, the situation changes. Intentional harm involves a deliberate choice to hurt someone, whether emotionally, mentally, or physically. This could involve actions that are manipulative, cruel, or outright disrespectful, done with the knowledge that the other person will suffer as a result. Unlike a mistake, intentional harm is purposeful. It's a choice made by the person causing the harm, and that choice reveals something about their character and how they view you as a person. When someone intentionally damages you, the harm they cause goes deeper than the surface. It reflects not just a lapse in judgment, but a lack of empathy and disregard for your feelings. They are aware of the pain they are inflicting, and yet they do it anyway. This can often be difficult to accept because when we care about someone, we want to believe that they have our best interests at heart. But intentional harm challenges that belief. It forces us to confront the reality that some people may act out of selfishness, malice, or even a desire to control or manipulate others. Recognizing intentional harm is critical because it allows us to better understand the true nature of the relationship we're involved in. If someone is repeatedly showing behavior that hurts us intentionally, we must ask ourselves, what does this person's actions say about how they view us? Are they treating us with the dignity, respect, and compassion that we deserve? Or are they using their power over us for their own gain, at the expense of our well-being? This understanding also requires us to examine our own role in these situations. While we may not be responsible for the harmful actions of others, we are responsible for how we respond to them. When we allow ourselves to be continually hurt by someone who is intentionally damaging us, we risk normalizing this behavior. It becomes easy to fall into a pattern of thinking that this is just how relationships are, or that the person will change with time. But change only happens when people genuinely recognize the harm they have caused and are willing to take responsibility for it. If someone continues to hurt us without remorse, we must be prepared to draw a line and take steps to protect ourselves. In the context of relationships, whether personal, professional, or familial, understanding the difference between mistakes and intentional harm helps us make better decisions about where to invest our time and energy. It empowers us to break free from toxic patterns and set boundaries that protect our emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Recognizing that intentional harm is a choice and not an accident enables us to view situations more clearly, to trust our instincts, and to make decisions that prioritize our health and happiness. It's a step towards reclaiming our power and refusing to allow others to diminish our worth. Understanding your self-worth is one of the most powerful tools you can possess, especially when it comes to protecting yourself from those who intentionally damage you. Your worth is not something that is determined by how others treat you or how they behave towards you. It's inherent in who you are as an individual. You are valuable, not because of the approval or validation you receive from others, but because of the qualities, strengths, and characteristics that define you. Realizing this can be a life-changing moment, because when you truly understand your worth, you no longer allow others to diminish it. When someone intentionally damages you, whether through manipulation, hurtful words, or any form of emotional or physical harm, it's a direct challenge to your dignity and self-respect. In these moments, it's easy to internalize the harm and believe that perhaps you deserve it, or that your value is tied to how others treat you. However, this is a dangerous and inaccurate narrative. The truth is that no one can define your worth except you. It's critical to remember that no matter what happens, your value remains constant. One of the most significant acts of self-care in situations where someone has hurt you intentionally is setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls meant to shut people out. Rather, they are protective measures to safeguard your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Setting boundaries with someone who has damaged you intentionally is not about punishment or being unforgiving. It's about protecting yourself and ensuring that you are not repeatedly exposed to behavior that undermines your self-worth. It's a clear statement that your peace, your happiness, and your sense of self are more important than allowing someone to continue to harm you. When you allow someone back into your life after they've intentionally hurt you, you are essentially saying that their actions are more important than your peace of mind. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that people can change or that they deserve another chance, especially when they apologize or promise to change. But actions speak louder than words. If someone has shown a pattern of intentional harm, offering them another opportunity to hurt you is simply allowing the cycle to continue. You are worth more than the risk of further damage. You deserve to be surrounded by people who lift you up, who respect your boundaries, and who treat you with the kindness and empathy that you give to others. The importance of boundaries also extends beyond just personal relationships. It applies to professional environments and family dynamics as well. In any setting, respecting your own needs and emotional health is crucial. When you set boundaries, you're making it clear that you will not tolerate intentional harm from anyone, regardless of their relationship to you. It's not about shutting people out. It's about ensuring that the people in your life contribute positively to your well-being. By setting clear boundaries, you not only protect yourself, but you also communicate to others how you expect to be treated. Boundaries teach others to respect your value, and more importantly, they remind you of your own worth. The act of recognizing and asserting your self-worth is one of the most empowering things you can do. It helps you to take back control when others try to diminish you. By setting and maintaining boundaries, you are actively engaging in a practice of self-respect, one that reminds you that you deserve healthy, supportive, and loving relationships. No one has the right to damage your sense of self, and when you understand your worth, you can ensure that those who do harm to you will no longer have access to your life. When someone intentionally damages you, one of the hardest realizations to face is that a second chance may only lead to repeating the cycle of harm. This cycle is often insidious, where the person who has hurt you may express remorse or offer promises of change, but their actions remain unchanged. The problem with giving a second chance in these situations is that it reinforces the idea that their behavior is acceptable, and it opens the door for further damage. The emotional toll of enduring repeated harm is significant, and it can leave you feeling depleted, confused, and helpless. Repeated harm often comes in the form of patterns that become increasingly difficult to break as time goes on. The first time someone intentionally damages you, you might be taken aback or shocked, unsure of how to respond. You may give them the benefit of the doubt, assuming that it was a one-off incident or a misunderstanding. However, when harmful behavior continues, it's no longer an accident, it's a choice. The person is showing you a pattern of how they treat you, and when this pattern is toxic, it's essential to take a step back and evaluate whether continuing the relationship is worth the emotional cost. By offering a second chance, you are essentially inviting the person to continue their harmful behavior without facing meaningful consequences. People who engage in this kind of behavior often know that they can get away with it, especially if you've shown a willingness to forgive them in the past. They might apologize, promise to change, or even manipulate the situation to make you feel guilty for not giving them another opportunity. However, if their actions consistently contradict their word, it becomes clear that their apologies are not genuine. They're simply a tool to maintain control or avoid accountability. It's crucial to break free from this cycle because each time you allow someone to hurt you without consequence, the emotional toll it takes on you intensifies. You may begin to lose trust in your ability to make good decisions, or you might question your own self-worth, believing that you are not worthy of better treatment. This is why recognizing the pattern of repeated harm is so important. It helps you see the truth of the situation and empowers you to make decisions that prioritize your well-being. Additionally, continuing to allow someone back into your life after they have damaged you intentionally teaches the other person that their behavior is tolerable. When we tolerate bad behavior, we enable it. A person who has hurt you intentionally may never learn the true impact of their actions if they are never held accountable for them. By choosing not to give a second chance, you are setting a firm boundary that signals that you will not accept hurtful or toxic behavior, regardless of the circumstances. This not only protects your mental and emotional health, but also encourages the other person to reflect on their behavior and the consequences of their actions. In some cases, people may genuinely change, but that change must come from within. It cannot be forced or expected simply because you've given them another opportunity. The key is to recognize when the damage caused is part of a harmful cycle that will continue unless there is a deep, authentic shift in behavior. A second chance may seem like the kind, forgiving option, but sometimes it's actually a choice that prolongs your suffering and keeps you stuck in an unhealthy dynamic. You deserve relationships, whether personal, professional, or familial, that are healthy, supportive, and filled with mutual respect. If someone has hurt you intentionally and repeatedly, giving them another chance is not a sign of love or forgiveness. It's a way of accepting harm as a part of your reality. Breaking free from this cycle requires strength, self-awareness, and the willingness to prioritize your own healing over trying to fix someone else. You have the power to create the life and relationships you deserve, and that often means recognizing when it's time to walk away for good.